First of all, thank you for sitting down with us and to talk about Google Drive. So first off, what exactly is Google Drive?
Google Drive is one of Google's probably most popular product. It used to be called Google Docs, and a couple years ago it went through a change. When it was called Google Docs, it really was just a word processing, word processing program. You could do presentations and spreadsheets and all of that, but when they changed it to Google Drive, now it really is an online storage space. You can upload videos, you can upload photos, so you can store a lot online, but you can also still use it to create. So Google Drive is definitely a great tool.
So approximately when will students be accessing Google Drive through the school?
Right now I'm working with as many teachers as I can to make sure everyone can log in. Several teachers have already invited me to kind of hang out in the room and work with students to make sure they can log in. One of the things I can tell you is if you didn't change your password last year, or you're not new to GM, you're probably going to have to change your password for me so you can log in to Google. And that's one of the things I'm hoping teachers are going to invite me in, and we're going to try to get as many students on as we can.
So currently students accessing word processors like Word just get it off their desktop. How would students access Google Drive?
Google Drives, they would be able to log into using any web browser, log into Google with their new username and their password. And then they can use any computer in the building, Mac, PC, doesn't matter. They wouldn't have to worry about what version of Word they have. They'd just be able to log into Google and access it there. Also, what's neat too is that when you're because you're saving into the cloud, you can then access your documents anywhere, at home, on any device. You can actually download Google Drive app for any of your devices, and you can edit or read or preview your documents that you created on the computer.
So to that end, what other devices like Android or iOS devices is Google Drive available on?
It's available on almost any product because Google is so overreaching that Google makes sure that their product is available anywhere. So it'll run on anything that usually has internet access. One of the things I use with my Google Drive app is a lot of times I know I'm going to be in meetings that might not have Wi-Fi or might not have great cell service. You can actually download and make the files offline so you can access them without. But it's one of the things where when we're looking at putting more technology in the schools, Google is one of the best tools to use because it works on almost every device.
What are some advantages to a cloud-based service versus non-cloud-based like we have now?
I will say that probably the biggest advantage is you don't have to, there's no anxiety of where I saved my document. I've worked, the years that I worked at Thomas Jefferson Elementary and the years I've worked here, there's been a lot of tears shed over lost papers or papers that weren't saved. The biggest benefit from Google is it's constantly saving. Every 5 seconds it saves. And so if you leave the computer, if the computer dies, you have a version online that was 5 seconds old. That's one of the best ones. Also, when you start your document, you create your document online, it's there. It's waiting for you on any device, anywhere you log in. You don't have to email it to yourself or email it to a teacher. It's always there waiting for you.
A major concern of students that I've talked to has been downtime. Has Google Drive experienced any significant downtime that you're aware of?
Google itself really is one of the services that prides itself on having the most uptime. There was an unprecedented outage that happened over the summer, which I think surprised everyone. It was one of those odd, and actually I think it wasn't the summer, I think it was actually in the spring, where Google went down for the entire world. And a lot of people were nervous about, was this an indication of instability of the infrastructure for them? But that outage, if anything, there's millions of dollars back in Google, multiple servers that are tons and tons of backups. So very rarely will it be down. Even when we, as a school district, we run a version called Google Apps, which is our own version of all the products that we can control We can control the content. We can turn off, for example, if you're using your school account, you don't have Google Plus because we haven't decided to turn that on yet. So we can control a lot of that. It always has uptime. There's been very little outage from that. So you can, if it does go down, it's such a short amount of time, and you're never going to experience data loss. Google prides itself on that.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, and thanks for agreeing to the interview. We'll definitely come back the next time we have a tech question.